Recently, you all participated in the Associate Engagement Survey. This used to be called just the Employee Survey. Is there really any differences between the old one and what we just did?
Absolutely, the entire focus is different.
Mm-hmm.
The old one really was designed to say, are you happy? We realized that happy doesn't necessarily mean engaged.
Right.
So this entire survey, even though some of the questions are the same, many of the other questions are not, and they focus around the thought of how engaged people are, how committed they are, how much they feel part of the team as opposed to just being employed here.
Right.
So engagement has really become a new word that is really critical and important to us. So the questions changed, the way we valued the questions changed, the way we looked at the questions changed. We kind of grouped them together differently so we can kind of get a better perspective on where our employees really feel as part of being part of the team.
How important do you feel this is?
It's absolutely critical. We talk over and over again, the single largest connection we have with our customers is our employees. There are 225 employees in the store, 225 of them connect with our customers. It is absolutely critical every single day. We need our employees to be committed. We need our employees to be part of the team. We need our employees to understand why we do some of the things that we do, even though some of them may seem a little crazy. But we need them to understand and believe that we're trying to do the right thing and that they're an important part of doing that, because they probably are the most critical part.
When you look at this, do you measure the employee individually?
No, absolutely not. One of the things about the employee survey, and I think everybody who has been here a couple of years knows this, one of the things about the employee survey is it's absolutely anonymous. We could take great pains. It doesn't come to us as a company, it goes to somebody we hired, so we never actually see any individual result. What we get is we get scores from groups of people and from segments of people. And the reason for that is it's not to identify a single individual, but to find out how as a team we're working. So we'll look at the different departments and say, is the grocery department working as well together as the produce department, or are the cashiers working as well together as the courtesy booth people, and kind of look in more global aspect than
the big
individual.
picture.
We're not trying to identify any individuals.
And how is this associate survey, how is it measured?
Well, what we do, and this is again very, very different than what we have done in the past. We now measure ourselves first against all of the other ShopRites in Connecticut, so our peers in Connecticut. We then measure ourselves against all the other ShopRites, which is 300 stores. So now we look and see how are we in the world of ShopRite. We then measure ourselves against other supermarkets. So how do we fit in our industry? And then we take one further measurement and say, okay, where do we fit in terms of the entire retail industry, which includes people like pet stores and clothing stores and stores that don't just sell food. So now we look at the whole industry and say, okay, how are we and how are our associates fitting in compared to everybody?
Right.
So it's kind of a dramatic way of looking at it.
And what else are we looking for?
Well, we're looking to find where we can make improvements, where we have perhaps weak points, and how we can go about improving that to bring everybody into the fold, bring everybody into being part of the team. A lot of times, and particularly in our industry where people start and stop at different times and they don't see everybody every day, and you don't connect necessarily with your manager or with the store manager or even with Charles or Mary Beth or myself every day because you don't see us, people kind of get lost and they think no one knows who they are or what they are. And that's the furthest thing from the truth, because we spend a lot of time, probably more of all of the things we talk about. Probably the most time we spend is talking about our employees. How do we make them better? How do we improve them? How do we get people more involved, more engaged? And what can we learn from them? Because they're the people who talk to everyone every day. They know more about what's going on the floor than I do. Because I only get people who either want to tell me how much they hate us or how much they love us.
Right.
Fortunately, and I've said this over and over again, we have more people tell us they love us than hate us, but the ones who hate us really hate us.
Really hate us.
So they, and that's what I get to hear. I get to hear the extremes.
Right.
But what we need to hear is from everybody. We get to hear what the customers are really saying, what they're talking about, what they would like to see.
Yes.
That would be the greatest thing. If the customer would tell us what they want, we can do that. But we have to have our eyes and ears, which are our associates out there listening to
Right.
hear it.
And we definitely need to hear from you. And on a side note with that, that's why we're trying to push more engagement with the portal we have online to get you guys to give us more feedback and suggestions. And we want to be able to communicate more directly with you.
Absolutely.
So take advantage of those services. That's why we have them in place. And also, I wanted to know, how well did we do as a store overall?
Hey, well, we're going to do a whole segment on how well, because that's
Okay,
that's
big
kind of
topic.
a really big question. But let me just put it as simply as I can. Overall, we did very well. As a group, we did extraordinarily well. However, we identified some issues.
Okay.
We got some issues, and those are the things we need to address. Even, and in many instances, even though our score was slightly higher than ShopRite or slightly higher than the others, it's still a major issue. Because any score where we got below a 60% approval rating means that's something we have to improve on. And improvement is a very difficult task because it has to work both ways. It has to come from us, and it has to come from the associates up. Because this has to be a collaborative effort. If we're going to make improvement, it has to be done by all of us. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the things that we found that, as far as I'm concerned, are big issues.
So we'll get into those later.
Absolutely.
But it all comes back to our core values and our purpose and us wanting to work better as a team.
Absolutely.
And so that's something we definitely have to work on here at ShopRite, and I think we can do it.
Absolutely. I think we have a great group of people. We have a group of people who are committed to doing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's all we need. We can, with that as the core, we can be successful.
We can do it. So what happens next?
What happens next? Ray's going to go through all of this, and we're going to present it to everyone.
With a fine-tooth comb.
And I'm going to go so far as we're going to give everybody the actual scores. We're going to publish them. We're going to post them so everybody can see item by item how we scored. We're not going to hide anything.
Nope.
And I'm going to tell you where I think we didn't do well and where we need to make improvement. I'm going to ask people to come and help us to make improvement.
And we'll have that all available up on the portal for you to view, so you can look
Yes,
at it
it
as well.
will.
Yes.
Yes, it will.
So then you can go through it too. So that was our associate engagement survey, and check out everything you need to know on the portal regarding it.